Okay, I've snipped it back to Thursday night, Friday morning session. We all know where price is now, it's all the way up here, but we're gonna cycle through this, getting up to these levels, seeing what I would have done in the moment, what trades I would have taken, what I was thinking and whatnot. So we jump down onto a minute. Or the 15 first. I've already marked out some levels here. I deleted the last recording by accident. It was only 2 minutes in, so it's not the end of the world. As I was saying though, in the last recording, as if we've broke these highs. We can now return back down to the solar block. The open or the high is technically this daily, so I'm not going to mark that. We have this 15-minute midpoint of the order block that we could return to. Whether it's daily we can return to, but whatever it returns to is what we'll be reacting off of. But as of right now, unfortunately we can see what happens in the next 15 minutes, but as of this point here, I'd already be looking for shorts down to this point. So once we break above here, I'm looking what's happening at the midpoint of this order block. Is it retesting into it? Hasn't retested it, but what we can see here is we keep closing lows, close the low here, try to have a little bit of a cycle up here by closing this higher, close the low, move further down, that's the wrong low, move further down, haven't broke this low yet, but we can already see what's holding. Right, we've just got all of the things aiding in shorts holding, so I wouldn't be mad with taking a trade around once this holds, because this tested into this. There's a interior low here that broke, trade back up into it at an ATT time. The next order block is here. Once you close the midpoint of this on a 15, you could have taken this for your first attempt down. I think this is when the shorts start to become good. I think if you're shorting anywhere in these ranges, it's kind of still a 50-50 if it's going to proceed up or it's going to go down. But once we've closed a good set of lows, failing highs, I think around this point is a good time to start going for those shorts. So if we just move it forward, first target could obviously be this order block here, or this order block for the range. So where the midpoint of that is. So we could have got stopped at there, or we can try and go for the lows. Considering we think it's going to go down to this range, possibly down here as well, we could definitely trail slowly, trying to get that bigger target, or you just take these lows. Lows are here. If you're still in this, you'll just trail once you can. So you trail here now. We are now at that order block here, about to test into it. This is the next order block of the cycle. If we see we closed this higher, this tested these highs, this is the order block for those highs. This is the next one to hold. So in theory, no reason why we need to go all the way down to here. We still can. If it starts to hold, then we start looking for longs to get further up now. Considering we broke the high, we can now get all the way up to this 0.5 level. So we would have been trailed out of that short anyway. It's not letting me click on that box. There we go. We do have a swing created now. Were swings in play though? 10. So 11 wasn't really a swing. Nothing really happened now. 02 was what we ended off of. That was a swing. 59 was a swing up, a swing down to go up. 54 or 53, it didn't really do much, but you can classify it as a swing. 47, you can say it's too late, and it swung down to go up. 41, they are kind of in play. You can see if we could get anything off of this. If we are looking here, this is a high, so we've already broken that range. We've broke the high, so now we can return back to this order block to go higher. So there's the midpoint, there's the open. Don't need this on my screen. Okay. We have a smaller range here. So already what we can see here is this range here is clearly starting to hold. We didn't test into this, doesn't need a test into this though. It's holding this range, this leg here, with this high time frame in play as well. Like we said, this is the next range in play. The next range after we moved up, but didn't get retested into. This tested off a daily, so the next thing is this range here. With that daily in play as well, or that daily level there, it makes it a lot better to try and get that move back up. So personally, I wouldn't have been able to get a trade here, just because it looks like it's holding that. Yeah, you're holding the order block, but there wasn't really a swing down to go up. If anything, I'll be looking at 17 was the swing to go down, meaning I would have been anticipating it maybe returning all the way down to here before we go up. So I would have missed this, but idea was correct to go up. We can get rid of this. Get rid of this now. Okay. So we've come down, we've tested the next order block in the cycle. Little range here, right? High, low, this got tested. The high, the low, this order block was tested. This is the next one. First thing I would have tried here was the midpoint of this order block. Stop loss, in my opinion, my stop loss is here. You should have it here. Already trailed here, and trying to play that up above here. We're starting to flip that direction now. I didn't mean to do that. Okay, so I would have got stopped out for 1.71 R there. Failed the high, failed the low. So this is the first sign of it going sideways. Mark those out. We can actually put this here because there is a high. Highs and lows. So now we're just kind of seeing which one closes or sweeps, so we can target the other side. This is the first thing. So 42, swing down. We'd already be looking to get into this. So if we could get into this, try and target those highs, this is what I would do. Like I said, the moment one of them breaks out, I'm not participating in this where it's not breaking highs, not breaking lows. My idea is to go up. So this is exactly what I would have wanted to see. Sweep the lows to break the highs. So if I could, I'd be in the midpoint of this, trying to target up here. Now we've had that movement down, we've moved up. Trail here for 1.14. Big wick, trail here for 1.86. Low taken here. This order block. Hold in here. Could have that flipping direction down. Back down to here. So the likelihood of us getting stopped out now is quite high. We do kind of want to see this just not hold, because if this holds we're going to flip the direction momentarily to then go back up. So this trade here is starting to look like it will get stopped out. 1.86 would now trail it here for 2.43. Took you out of that for 2.43. Okay, now we're still waiting. We still think it's gonna close up or go up, sorry. Let this do its thing. Okay, now this is a good thing actually, because we've swept the low. This low got created from this high. We never swept this high, we just created equal highs. Now we've swept the low. The likelihood of this now going is 10 times more likely than in this range here, because now we've swept one of the sides of the exterior range. We can now break the high of the exterior range. So with this also being a swing at 52, you can see that would have tested you in. I would have been in this. Tried this. We've now swept that side, so we can break that high. Get rid of this. This order block is still the order block of the range. If something's going to flip direction, it's going to be that. Keep that on my screen. Get rid of this now. So the play-by-play is sweeping this exterior range to break exterior range up. Already think it's going up. This high time frame's holding. Our whole bias is to go up, so if anything this is our first target of the exterior move. Already be break even, by the way. At this point with this massive candle you'd already be break even. So this is the first place it can flip before continuing. So you're either trading aggressively, getting a re-entry, or you're still at break even. I'm one to trade aggressively and then get a re-entry. That's kind of how I trade. We've got trailed out here for 2.14. Like I said, I'm only looking at these order blocks here to flip the direction. If we are actually looking at the next order block in play, it would be this one. Low got taken out here. This is the order block for that low. Anything that got tested was the order block low here. So this can flip direction down to this order block. Time is 58. We have this here, and we also have the inversion fair value gap. So once we see something swing down, there's no clear swing here. If the next candle is a swing down, that will key me into, okay, we swung down to now go up, or we swung down to now go up. So there's a swing down. So now I'm already looking at the midpoint of this. If we can get the midpoint of this to take that up. First target here for 2.71. Trying to break this high. Get rid of this. That would have gone up, stopped you out. So -1 order actually. Which is fair enough. I'd still think the same thing now. I think we were just being a bit too aggressive there, potentially. But here's what I would do. Don't care that I just took a loss. I would go straight in for the next thing. Straight in for the next thing. Try and go for that. We would have got that. So this is the thing, right? This is why I tell you to take profit, take a re-entry, because the thing is, right, we took a win and a loss. We got 2.14. We then tried again. We got taken out, so we would have been at 1.14. If we were still sitting here at break even, yeah, we'd still be in a trade. But what's saying it couldn't have came down to here, stopped you at break even, and then gone up? You're gonna get a lot more profit getting trailed out and then trying to go for the re-entry, opposed to just sitting in that one first trade. Because now what we've done is we lost 1R, still at 1.14. There's nothing saying that this couldn't have failed and then go down. You would have just been at break even. Whereas taking this, getting a loss, at least we're still at 1.14. But then we've gone for the re-entry here anyway. So re-entry, saying this is the swing at 1 AM. First target already taken out. Trying to target these highs. Next target is here. 5.13. And where would I be trailed? Now we've created a low here. I'd probably trail here. We've tested into this fair value gap, I think. Yes, we've tested a high. High's been tested. We've also broken this high, so the likelihood of us coming back down to this order book now before going up is a lot higher. So we'll probably get stopped out again. But what I would do is go for another re-entry. So I would be out for 1.5 if this does come down. 1.5 does come down. Okay, that's fine. 0.4, so I could classify this as the swing if I think it's going up. We've closed the higher. We're turning to the order book now. If we can get above the midpoint of this, I would then take another re-entry. Re-entry here. And don't be scared to take re-entries after you take a win. After getting tried out. Because like I said, like you're not losing anything. It's better to take trials instead of sitting at break even, because then you can get a re-entry without losing anything if you do lose. So we would have been able to get another trade here. Straight up to your target. Midpoint. Straight up to 4.89. So you either get stopped out at target or you're trailing. I don't know where the 15-second would be, but maybe I would have been trailing on that. Still in this maybe. And potentially stopped out already, because the moment it starts going up, I'm taking nothing less than my first target if this does come back down. So I would assure you now that I would be going for 4R. And you can do the same thing again. If we broke this here, this isn't now going to just flip the direction down. If this went before this, then yeah, it would, but this went before that, so we swept this, so we should break into this to go higher, meaning we can start looking at that range all the way up here. And the moment we stop looking at that range is when we start closing these, closing this, closing this. And then we assume our direction is currently still down. Meaning if this isn't holding, we can then start looking at the 0.75, which is the next level PDR. So the low of his fair value gap could be where it goes to. Get rid of all this stuff on the screen. Okay. Didn't really close above that. Couldn't really try anything now. Plus I think your stop loss is quite big for this move. Okay, Now we broke that first low here and the second low, so we're already starting to see that direction could be flipping, and taking the idea of this sweeping for this to break up as the wrong idea for the moment. Still thinking long term it's going to go up. Obviously we know it goes up, this is what I'd be thinking at the moment. Don't need that, I don't even know why I put that there. Let's leave that on the screen. So closed, swept into here, didn't break up here, instead we swept. So if we're not breaking up and we're sweeping instead, and then we're closing lows, and then it's inevitable that these lows are going to be taken to go further down. The direction so far, or right now, is down. Swept that again. If we was going to want to take a long, we'd have to wait for this to go. See, use this as the bait range to hold it, and then get the next range up. Because once we're trying to flip direction, we should always use a bait range and not just get in off the first attempt of flipping the direction. Okay, we're coming down, so something you could try. 25. This candle here you can try for a long. This held, swept it. So the bait range held, meaning you can go for the next range, which attempts to break the next higher, being here. You can attempt this. Clearly would have got in that. Would be break even now with how far up that went. I would also be trailed for 1.14. Not worth a trail there. Okay, trailed out for 1.14. Failed the higher. So this is a sign that direction down is still in play. This wouldn't hold now because we didn't close the high. No reason for this to hold now. So if that's the fact, then we can return back down to this level. Close this low here. If we think shorts are still in play, and then this is the next thing you want to see hold, and then you can react off of that. Okay, we've come up to it now. Just missed the midpoint. $38, something I would have gone for. Would have been the midpoint. Obviously didn't test. Yeah, you might have been able to react fast enough to get into the open. If not, you would miss this enough to go for the next thing. I would have missed this personally, because I would have went for the midpoint. Straight down. Here's the thing though. We still think direction's going down, so this daily level getting tested again doesn't necessarily mean anything for me. We failed to break higher several times. We're still breaking lows. The next thing to happen is to come up to this order block to then continue it down. We're up to that. 48, classifying 47 as the swing. So could have entered the midpoint of this order block. Get rid of these levels now, got too many things on the screen. And we are targeting here. We could always target here for the flip of direction to get a re-entry. If not, we are targeting here for 5.29. Straight down. We'd already be break even once this candle comes all the way down to here. We create that swing, so we could trail there. Once target's hit, we either decide to get out there or trail aggressively. So you'd have to trail to the top of this candle. This is what I would do if I'm trying to play for the bigger move. Would now trail here. So I'm not really missing out on too much. If my target's here, I'm not missing out on that much. I'm missing out on about 0.6R by trailing to here. Now we're not missing out on anything because our target's here and we are now actually getting more, so 6R. Next level that's gonna flip direction, even if it's just momentarily, is gonna be this next daily. And we do get stopped out there, and because that's what I would have thought, I would have been on the 15-second trailing aggressively somewhere. If we could have trailed maybe like here somewhere, potentially would have got out for about 8.29, and that's just a simple trade really, isn't it? We have the direction of going up long term, that's failing. We flip our direction, failing highs here, keep taking out these lows. We tried a long here, got stopped out for 1.15, close low, okay, clearly the direction's down still. Once we close here, we come to here, we create a swing at 47. We're at the point where it's going to flip the direction, being the order block and the highest fair value gap. We take the midpoint of that, also being the low of the inversion fair value gap. Target here. This is a simple way to be. Simple. And now we can maybe potentially flip that direction back up. We have this daily, we have an 82. We're using this as the bait range first. There's no real range created. Actually there is. We have a high here, a low here. So once this goes, then we can start looking for those longs. Before that, we're not just going to jump in and go, okay, we've hit this now this is going to hold, and just come all the way up to here magically. Now we're going to wait for the bait range to hold, and then we're going to go into something. So we want to see if this range is going to hold before we start anticipating the direction changing. Failed the high. Going sideways until we break one of these directions. I don't care that this little high is broke. This doesn't really mean anything. Yeah, if it did, if you're looking at that as meaning something, you would have taken this. You would have taken this. Sorry, not that. This tested into that, so you would have taken this. Nothing saying this is a wrong trade to take at all. You don't have to wait for the range to break out, because you've got to remember this is the exterior range. You're waiting for one of these sides to break to continue that, to kind of decide where price is going. You don't have to wait for this. You can see these interior ranges and go for them, but the likelihood of them working out before any of these have broken is going to be a lot lower, and you'll probably get a lot of break-evens or small profits, or maybe a loss. But if you did go for this, obviously it would have been break-even when this pushed up. Would have been tried out for about 1.2 already. And this is the next thing to hold, right? So you would have got stopped out and then got a re-entry if you think this is going to close. But like I said, if we move forward, we might be able to see what I mean. And yeah, there you go. Before these break out, if you're going for these type of things, it's gonna be a lot easier to get a loss. So this is obviously the order book here. Nowhere to trail at all. It didn't even break up. So you would have just stop loss here. Well, you would have already been stopped out anyway, because once it closed here, comes down, stops you out. It doesn't even go up anyway, because none of these sides have broken yet. I want one of these exterior directions to close before I start assuming a direction. Okay, we swept here at the same time. Obviously this is like news or something. 2:30 AM news. Swept here at the same time. Okay. Still haven't broken outside, but we swept the top first and then we swept the bottom. So we can already assume that direction is probably up then. If we swept that first, the next place to go is the lows. We did that at the same time, simultaneously. Come down. Hold off of the order block here of the range. This is the order block. Swing, no swing. Actually, we do have a swing at 30. Okay, so if that's the swing down, we're holding the midpoint of that wick. Order block's here. Once we gain the midpoint of that order block, this is where my stop loss would be. Yours should definitely be one of these. I think that's a bit too big. Maybe here. Targeting here. And this is something I'd look for. Okay, sorry. I had to pause the recording there. We had a wasp come into the room. I don't know what I was saying, but this is, I think I was saying this is something I would try. We had a push up here with that big candle. I could have been break even. If not, would have been stopped out to the dollar. Whatever would have happened in the moment would have happened. If I did take a loss here, fair enough. We're waiting for that next range. High and a low here. High, low, broke the high. So this is the order block for that range. This is would have been the next thing you could have tried. Something I would have tried. The moment you get all the way up to here, yeah, I would have probably been break even and already stopped at break even for this trade. Keep going, keep going. Okay. Next one's gone, so now we can return to this order block. This is where things are starting to look good because we're actually starting to cycle something through here now. Whereas here you're kind of, like I said, entering somewhere like here is going to be a bait range because nothing's really been decided yet. Whereas here we've now closed a high. Didn't close this low, also didn't close this low. We close a really interior low here, it doesn't really mean anything. Tested into that now, so first thing I would have tried. Could have been the midpoint of this wick if it retested down. If not, going for the thing that you should always just go for the midpoint of the order box. Midpoint of the order block. Your stop loss should be here, down at this low. Okay. We're in that now. We have closed that higher, so now we can retest back down to my entry before going up. So something I could do here, or something I would do anyway, because it has gone up. I would trail here, probably get stopped out, enter the same trade, because now I've locked up 0.71. Just re-enter again. Worst that happens, I'll lose 0.29 in total if I take a negative 1 hour trade, negative 1 hour loss. So what I'm saying here is we've closed this higher. We have a high and a low here, so this is a range. This is the next order block to hold. Comes back down, would have tested me out perfectly. Here, swing 46 would already be in this next one here. And this is exactly what I was saying. It's going to come back down to retest what just broke out. If it does that, this is the next order block in play, I'd be in this to try and target this high for 3R in total. So we're just taking trades and then taking the same trade twice. You can literally take the same trade twice if you enter before anything's happened. This is why entering the midpoint of an order block before anything's happened is a really, really good setup, because you get in before we've closed that high, then once it returns you get the same trade again. You could have trailed to break that interior high. This is the interior high. That's what you're aiming to close for this range to be valid. You're playing before that happens. So let's say it came all the way up to here and you got trailed out for let's say you got trailed out around here, and that was like 2.13R. Once it returns back down to this range like it did, you just take the same trade again. You've got nothing to lose doing that. You've literally got nothing to lose except from some of the profit you made, which I'd rather take than sit here in the same trade at break even. But anyway, we'd be in this here. First place to trial. Same thing again, right? It's literally the same thing again. You entered this to break this. This is a very, very small range. This is the order block. This is a low. This is a high. You're playing this to break here. It breaks, it returns. So you could have also once again trailed here for 2.4, got in the same trade once this fair value gap and order block holds, and then just got into this again. It's just literally you can take the same trade twice off of the same thing. Technically the same thing twice. And this is the next thing in play, because this has been tested, this has been tested, this has been tested, this is the next thing. You've closed this is now going to hold. Once it holds, you take what tested into that, being this level. And this would have been, this one here would have been a great trade to get in. 7.17R or 7.33R, and you're at that point. You're at that point before we sorry, we're at that point that swept. So being the order block here, this is the next thing to hold to continue that price movement down, if we're going to continue that price movement down. So if that's what we're anticipating, if we're anticipating that this could potentially break down here, if we think it's going to go lower long term, I don't. So I'm looking at this as just momentarily flipping direction down. Where to? This range here, the range below that broke up. So if this is a swing and we've just been tried out for 7.33R, it is a swing. If you've just been tried out for 7.33R, why would you care about losing 1R trying to take an aggressive trade down to this? Because now we've come up to that point, we're holding that point of a big wick here. Why can't we take this down to potentially get another 8.67R, potentially lose 1R of the 7.33 we just made? You've got nothing to lose. You would have missed that, but there's nothing saying you couldn't have gone for this either. Regardless if you went for this or this, missed it or whatnot, this is something I'd always try and take, and it does flip that direction. Why? Because this is the next thing it has to trade to before it goes down. Because we broke these. This is the order block for this whole entire range. It's literally a magnet. It's gonna come to here before it goes down. This high was gone. It's going to come back down to this range that broke price up to here before it continues. So we're going to come somewhere down here. Maybe we come to here, because this is technically the next thing that price needs to come to. Because we're already tested here. We're already tested here. We're already tested here. Technically this is the next part, right? So the moment this starts to look like it's holding, you could get into this to now long up, because if we're seeing this as momentarily flipping the direction down, this is the next place to hold. We can take this to break here to continue up, which it does perfectly. It does perfectly, because it's just simple. It's just simple stuff. There's not really much to it. Just use your head and go, okay, so we had to come to here. I think direction is going to come up. Okay, if this is going to hold, where's the next place it needs to come to? It can come down to here. Does it have to? Start looking at if it has to. If it has to come down to here, what you do is you start going, okay, this high was closed. This order block's been tested. Technically, there's no reason for it to come down to here. It still can. This is the order block of this whole entire range, and it can still come to here. Does it have to? No, because technically it's been tested. The next thing that tested into here and held was this. The next thing after that that tested into that and held was this. This broke price up to here. So technically, if this broke price up, this should be where it comes to before it goes higher. It comes exactly to that here and goes up. Why? Because that's the thing that broke price up. It's not just a random level. It has stuff behind it. You just have to find the stuff behind the level, and that's how you do it. We've tested all these. No reason to come lower. So here you can start to say, well, there's no reason to come down to here. So if this holds, then we will take that. Especially if you're already up as much as you could have been with these two trades. Let's say you got that one as well. And I don't know, you got trailed out here or something when this tested. Trailed out here or something. You would have got about. If it did test up to here, you would have got 4.22R, so you're up about almost 12R. You can trade aggressively when you're already up 12R because you've got nothing to lose. You've generally got nothing to lose. So O2 comes around 82. Interior sweep, if you want to look at it like that. Interior sweep. Why the hell wouldn't you go for this? This is the next thing to hold. So you take that. There's clearly a 15-minute interior high here. If we swept this, we're going to break this and then return down to what broke that, being this order block, and it could have just got the same trade again. So let's say we trailed here, got stopped out for 0.89R, and then you just do the same thing again. The same thing as all of these trades here. You just take the midpoint of this now to break this. And if this was to trail you out, let's say here, for 4R, comes back down to here, what would I do? I'll just take the same trade again to go up. You should just keep taking the same thing over and over and over again. Cool. So we break all the way up, and this is the next place we was looking to get traded to, right? So what do we do here? Right, we failed the high. This is where we need to get to before we flip down momentarily, in my opinion, because I think we're going to go higher. So this shouldn't do too much other than get us down to the next range before we go higher. So what am I looking for here? Well, I'm looking for a short. Where would I be? I would already be in this. Swing up at 29. Swing up at 29. Let's move this, and then move this. Midpoint of the order block here. Already in this. Not even anticipating it's going to hold. We didn't even close the high. So why is this going to hold? So what we can do is we can start looking at this low. This is the next simple trade, and you're in. Sorry, and that you've hit target already. You've already hit target. Where would you be trailed out? I would be trailed out here for. I don't know why it's not showing me the price anymore. For 3.5. Why? Because this is the next thing it's going to hold. This is the next thing. This was the next thing here. Once this holds, where's the next thing it's going to hold? Oh, it's going to be here. What keys you into that actually holding? Swept here, didn't break. Okay, so if we swept here, we're gonna break below here to go lower. We do that, and then look again. Look again. Where's the next thing that needs a hold? Where is the next thing? This technically held this higher, right? Aggressively held this higher. Do we need to come down to here now? No. If this held this range, this doesn't have to trade down to here. This is the next range to trade to. It trades perfectly to it before it continues. Perfectly. You just have to find the next thing it needs a trade to. Trades to it perfectly and goes up. So yeah, I hope this video helps. I'm just going to end it there now because it's been 45 minutes. Yeah, I'll record another one later on probably.